Good afternoon, it's Pamela from Yorkshire in the north of England. I'm here to introduce the second challenge for By Hook or By Crook. I've created this challenge, as you'll know from the first one if you're watching then, for crafters who also have an interest in crime fiction or detective fiction, anything that comes under that banner. The entries, when you do them, you can do in any form of craft that you want. So I've got down here like crochet, knitting, cross stitch, embroidery, felting, drawing, painting, modelling, the list goes on. So any form of craft will be accepted as an entry. Now, the first one we did was The Moving Figure by Agatha Christie. Now, for my second challenge, I've already stated that it's Vera. Now, I'm going to give you a rundown, and this is entirely how I see it. I have to repeat no, I don't know if I've actually said it in the previous video, but basically I've never actually read a Vera novel. I've only read one book from Ann Cleeves, who created Vera. I've only ever watched the TV series, and there's something like 13 or 14 series on the television. Now, it is popular. It wouldn't have been recommissioned so many times if it wasn't, and as I've already said, it's based on the books by Ann Cleeves. There's 11 Vera books that I've found, and that's The Crow Trap, Telling Tales, Hidden Depths, Silent Voices, The Glass Room, Arbour Street, The Moth Catcher, The Seagull, Darkest Evening, The Rising Tide, and The Dark Wives. There seems to be no link between the order in which the TV series has been produced, and quite often, as is always the case, they pick what they think will be most popular, you know, from the books. I'm sure Ann Cleeves is happy about what they've done, because I've heard her talking so many times, and she's never alluded to the fact she doesn't like how the TV series has been done. Now, just a background on Vera, the detective in the story. So she's DCI, so that's Detective Chief Inspector Vera Stanhope, although she does actually sometimes pronounce it Stanhope. Now, I don't know whether that's a nod to, you know, traditional Northumberland people who would pronounce it that way, but I'm sure she's pronounced it Stanhope as well. She works for the Northumberland and City Police, which is a fictional police service. She is from Northumberland, so she's Northumberland born and bred. Her mother died young, and the TV series starts just after the death of her father. We learn that she had a difficult relationship with her father, and it's constantly alluded to throughout the TV series. He appears to have been a reprobate. I don't mean that he was a violent person, by the way, it's just that it was an awkward person. He appears to have been a reprobate and kept some dubious company. They do know that he did associate with criminals, and I think it was in the one that was called The Seagull, that on TV, that we found out just how criminal they were. Having said that, she found no involvement toward crime from him, but he did participate in illegal activity. He collected birds' eggs, so basically he stole birds' eggs, which is, you know, it's not allowed, and he's also stuffed birds. Now, whether he actually killed the birds to, you know, perform taxidermy on them, I don't know, but he did stuff birds. Something I don't like the look of. Neither does she, I think. Anyway, she appears to dislike him, but then sometimes on occasion she seems to have sympathy for him, you know. She does have happy memories as well, you know. It's not all bad. So in the TV series, it starts with Vera taking over her father's rundown cottage, which is in a remote coastal area of Northumberland. She also starts driving his old Land Rover, however, when the bits I've read about how Vera started and what have you, it seems to imply she's always lived at her father's cottage. She continued to live with him all throughout, and she was always driving the Land Rover. But on the TV, she just takes it over. Now, it's in a very rundown state on the TV series, and you see her clearing out this cottage, and she's throwing away many of his stuffed birds. In fact, there's a stench coming from the upstairs room where it might even be the attic, where he did the actual taxidermy, and obviously it's all the chemicals and the decaying birds that they find in there. Vera always looks dishevelled, untidy in appearance. She likes to wear an old brown raincoat and a green bucket hat, which has also been described as a fishing hat. And she does wear thin scarves all the time. Now, this is actually sort of like, they say that this is because she has eczema, which I think is alluded to again in the books, which I haven't seen, but I don't think they've ever mentioned that on the TV series. But these scarves and this hat is to cover the eczema that she's embarrassed to show. Now you also get the impression that she's menopausal because she keeps, you know, she goes hot. So, which she would be, because the thing, according to one of the books, she's 45. Now, it's never mentioned on screen, but that would probably fit if she is menopausal. Also could account for her grumpy moods. Apparently, Brenda Blethyn, who plays Vera, very fine actress, who in real life is actually 78, who doesn't look it. She sources the clothes that she wears in the series. Vera's never been married and has no children, but there is mentioned a couple of times a former boyfriend called Peter, I think it was. Now, I think something sad happened there, so whether we ever get to find that out, I don't know. It might be in the books. She pays little attention to her officers' children, or in fact their personal lives, although she does mention the partners of the her officers more than she does their children. And she does have a close relationship with some of her officers, particularly her sidekicks, which she's always got a sergeant at her side, you know, pretty much wherever she goes. Now she is fearless, actually. She's, you know, she gets herself in situations like where she's up high and what have you, and she's scared of heights in the TV series, so there's usually a bit of comedy there. Talking of her sidekicks, there's been two main sergeants that's played the sidekicks. The character names are Joe Ashworth, who was the first one, then Aidan Ely. Joe Ashworth has returned in recently as a detective inspector, so he's been promoted. It's filmed in many cities and coastal areas and rural areas of Northumberland. It's often, if you want to watch it on television, definitely for the UK viewers, it's often repeated on ITV3, but it is available for free on the ITVX free version, the app. Now, you do have to put up with the adverts, but as far as I remember, there's every series that's ever been on there. You can also get it on Amazon Prime to rent or to buy. Now, I'm pretty sure that's still up-to-date information. Now, I'm recommending we start with the first Vera book, which I haven't read. Like I say, I haven't read any of the Vera ones. I'm going to read this, The Crow Trap. Now, there is a story of that title later on and in the TV series, but this is actually the first actual book. So The Crow Trap is the one that I'm recommending we read. Or you can watch the TV series if you can get it. So I'm going to say a little bit about Ann Cleeves, who wrote it. She's actually from, I'm just going to have a drink of water. She's actually from Herefordshire, but she did grow up in Devon. In her time, she's lived on Fair Isle, which is one of the Shetland Islands. Fair Isle is a very small island, and it's got less than 100 residents. But apparently it's a very beautiful place, which I can imagine, and obviously the Fair Isle design came from there. I once heard Ann Cleeves talking about the Fair Isle, and she was very fond of that place, and not surprisingly because she met her husband there while she was working at the Fair Isle Bird Observatory. Her husband has since died, but obviously it was an happy marriage. Although I think she had some times where she was lonely, but I'll be put right if I'm incorrect there. But she did stay married to Tim, who she met on Fair Isle. He's since died, but she now lives in Whitley Bay with her 2 daughters. After I don't know if she was living there before, but she certainly as a widow, and she's I think she went back to live in, because she loved Northumberland and that area, she went back to live there all told in the 80s. In her time, she's done lots of jobs. She was obviously a cook at the Fair Isle Bird Observatory. She's been an auxiliary coast guard. She's been a women's refuge leader. And she's trained as, when she finished all those jobs, she trained as a probation officer. Obviously, all these things that she's done give a huge inspiration for Vera and gives her insights into things that she talks about. And also the experience on the Shetland Isle, because one of her other famous things that's been converted to television is Shetland. Which stars which features the detective Jimmy Perez. Another good one and on my list. Now then, what else we got to say? Yeah, so just keep remembering, most of what I've said is based on my view of the TV series and not from the books, unless I've quoted a little bit that I've heard about the book. I've only read the one book, which was The Sleeping and the Dead, and it's not either a Jimmy Perez one or a Vera. You don't have to watch the TV series or read the book, because there's plenty of synopses out there, and also there's interviews on YouTube. Ann Cleeves and Brenda Bethany have done interviews together. That's why I think she's happy with how it's been done on TV. But it would be nice if we could all read the book, or like I say, at least get some snippets of the TV. There's lots that I've mentioned here that can be translated to craft. You've got clues with the titles of the novels. You've got clues as to how she dresses. You've got clues as to, you know, being surrounded by stuffed birds. She's the coastal element, the seaside element. There's loads of inspiration around Vera, and I don't think anybody will you know, miss something there that. What am I trying to say? I think there's something there for everyone to pick out in order to do something in craft. Now, what we're going to say? Oh yeah, so once again, I did say I had to give an exit prize of £15 because that was the minimum I could do. So the closing date for this one will be no, I haven't done that yet. Sorry, Sorry, let me do it in order. The prize will be £15 Etsy or Amazon voucher. So that's £15 for Etsy or Amazon, and that will be your choice. I will do it again, draw it again using the wheel. So it's like a wheel of fortune. If Etsy change the minimum amount again, I will probably make it Amazon only or something else that we can come up with. I'm not really happy to go above 15 really. Your entry must relate to the Crow Trap, the book The Crow Trap, or the TV series. But like I say, I have given you information there that so you don't have to pay for any the TV series if you don't want to, or if you don't want to buy the book. There's information in this video that can give you some hints as to what you could do. The closing date will be the 30th of June. I may not be prompt at putting out the winner because I'm on holiday the last week of June. The entry is by email only, like I did last time. I will acknowledge receipt of every entry that I get, and if you don't receive an acknowledgement within 2 to 3 days, I haven't got it. I'd like you in that entry to tell me what your inspiration was for the make that you did, and also anything else about the make that you think people would be interested in. I've no affiliations for this at all. I'm doing this entirely on my own, on my own. I will return with another update before we've finished it, so I won't sort of just let it hang till 30th of June. I will be back with other things, probably as I start to read the book. That might give us, better, ideas as to why she's like she is in the TV series. So yeah, I think that's about it really. I'm going to insert a picture of Vera and the first book and of Ann Cleeves and anything else I can think of. Now, I won't normally do this, but it's my challenge, I'll do what I like. I'm going to show you one of the things I'm going to make. Now, the reason I came to this was when I decided that I was going to do Vera as challenge number 2, after that time I was sorting out all my books and magazines and my leaflets and what have you. I think I probably told you when I was going to be sorting out my trolley and what have you. Anyway, one of them is a pattern that I was reminded that I got in Simply Crochet some time ago. I think it's pre-channel actually. I don't think it's within the last year. And I came across it and I thought this would make a good Vera. This is to tell you that you can take an idea from any pattern really, which similar to what Cassandra says about a mix or match challenge. You can take inspiration from anywhere and change it. Now this is a leaflet from Simply Crochet, which is amigurumi, and it's an amigurumi down under patterns. So you've got like a crocodile, a wallaby, or I think it's a wallaby, and a koala, and then you've got like an image of someone who, like, what your typical Australian, like the stereotyped Australian looks like. Now I think that will be perfect for Vera. I probably won't give her trousers up, although she does wear trousers sometimes, but I'll probably give her a dress, because she does wear dresses quite a bit in TV series. I'll take the shoulder flaps off the jacket and obviously won't put the corks on the hat, but that to me screams Vera. So just like I say, it's an idea that you see another pattern that you can translate into what you're doing. Anyway, so that's that bit. I think that's everything covered. So tell me what you think about my choice. I know some of you have already said you're happy that it's Vera, because obviously you're, like if you're in the UK, I don't think you can have missed that there's this TV series, even if you don't watch it. I mean, like I say, it's advertised regularly. And it is easily available to us here. If you've got a smart TV, you can do the ITV X app. And like I say, if you can bear the adverts, which I grin and bear it, because I don't want to pay for everything I watch on television. But yeah, I have the adverts on, and I watch loads of series on there. I've got all the Midsummers, I've got Touch of Frost, loads of them on that one. Some of the Rosemary and Thyme's on it. Shetland, there's loads of them. So, you know, is Shetland on it actually? You know, I don't know if it is now, I said that. But all the others I've mentioned there. Yeah, anyway, one of the things I'm going to say to you though, when I was reading the review of The Crow Trap, the first book from Vera, about Vera, is that somebody said it was sickly sweet. Now, these people sometimes though that review these, if they're into serious crime fiction, they mean grisly crime, don't they? You know, really violent crime. And so I'm not too concerned that it says it's sickly sweet, because, and it says there's humour in it as well, which there is in the TV series. And I would say that's a good thing, because if they mean sickly sweet or humour, like say something like Midsummer Murders or Rosemary and Thyme, I'm quite happy with that, you know, because it's you know, like, I don't like it too grisly. But anyway, just bear that in mind, that there are some bad reviews out there, but like I say, it depends what aspect you're coming from, doesn't it? Whether it worries you or not that it's not serious crime, you know. Anyway, just bear that in mind, and I'll be back later. I hope you all like the challenge I've come up with, and we'll speak soon.